economy. They want to destroy your economy. They want you to be homeless. They don't care about your health. You got a fat man telling you to stay home and eat cheesecake. What is healthy about that? While he's trying to shut down the strongest part of our health industry, mixed martial arts brings you mental clarity. Mixed martial arts brings you body strength. Okay? When you sweat your butts off every single day, kicking that bag, wrestling, whatever the case may be, or even just going in there to pump some weights or run some cardio, you won't get sick. You don't get sick. You get healthy. This is not about your health. This is about Doug Ford making $47 million trying to say that something's wrong with you when there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing. Open your businesses. Right now in Ontario, in Muskoka, Ontario, we have 300 businesses just in Muskoka alone who are standing on their square. They will not be told. They don't need a nanny. We are grown adults. We run our own lives. Every individual person here decides their own life. That's what this country is built on, and that's how we're going to stay. And if they don't like it, they can get out. I'm going to invite one of the most amazing fighters in this entire fight up here right now. And he opened his own initiative, and it's called Open Up Your Business. Dermot Palmer, please come up here. Everybody get together for Dermot. He's been working his butt off for businesses.
Great job, let's hear it for Kellyanne!
Yeah!
Woo! Beautiful Friday! Great things happened today, guys. That was a brave guy that came out today and stood up. It takes a lot of courage to stand up against the police force. He knows what's right in his heart. His spirit is speaking to him. He knows this is lies. He knows that this is a pandemic. He knows damn well that this all comes from the World Economic Forum and there's a bigger plan. And we don't want no part of it. He doesn't want no part of it. He stuck his neck out. Much like all of us sticking our neck out. When you get your neck stuck out or stick your neck out, you're going to get people taking swings at you. And I know that. Kellyanne knows that. All of us freedom fighters know that. All of our families that have been fighting with us, that's what we do. And we do it because we know in our hearts it's right. So I just want everyone to give yourself a big hell yeah!
Hell yeah!
This is not a popularity contest. We're out here for fun. I've met so many great people through this movement. And I don't know why I'm here. I didn't ask to be a leader. But when you know something is not right, it just stirs in your spirit and you know it's time to stand up and speak out. And that's what we're all doing, and that's why we're all here. Yeah. We're going to talk about something. We're going to talk about the virus, the real virus. The real virus is the media. They are the virus. We can't get our story told through the media. And I'll give you an example. 3 weeks ago, I decided to get a couple of kids together in the park in my neighborhood, and I'm sure a few of you people know about this. It was just a fun little play date. We had about 10 of us gather at Stonecrest Parkette in Oshawa next to my house. We just let the kids play. We got talking and we said, you know what, next week let's make it bigger. Let's share it through our social platforms because the kids need normalcy. They need to get back to normal. Parents need to get back to normal. And all it was just getting people together in the community with the idea that your neighbors will come out and talk to each other. So we did that. Bylaw shows up and they come flying in their vehicle, light flashing, 2 vehicles into a park, just like Mitch from Baywatch, showing up at the beach to rescue someone drowning, yelling on the microphone, on the PA system, everyone clear the park, yelling at us. Now that was not on camera.
Kids there and all.
Kids and everything there, yelling at us, driving their vehicles, speeding into the park like there was a big crime scene. That wasn't caught on video because we weren't recording. By the time we got our cameras out and actually spoke to the officer, the bylaw officer, he got pretty irate. He escalated it. He took the video camera and started recording all our kids. We started recording him, telling them to get out of the park. What did the media focus on? Me, yelling at him, get out of here. And I still stand behind that, get out of here. Yeah. That's what they did. They painted me as being the bad guy. Look at these guys yelling and screaming. They don't respect the law. So that's what ended up happening. That's what got spread. The next week, when I'm about to do the third one, I get home around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I look across the street and I see Global News. I'm like, what are they doing there? They're interviewing someone in the park. So I go across the street. There was a lady there speaking. She was on our side. Never met her before, but as it turns out, she's a neighbor. She respects what I'm doing, much like many of the other neighbors who came out and patted me on the back talking about it. And I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for the kids. I'm doing it for all of us because we need to talk. We need our communities to come out and talk about the bullshit because the media is not telling us. And that's exactly what it accomplished. So I get over to the park, we listen to the lady speak. She spoke beautiful words. Hardly any of what she said that was pertinent to what's going on in the world about the all-cause deaths and stuff like this that actually goes against the narrative. None of that got recorded. Right afterwards, they interview me. They asked me all about the incident of us yelling at the bylaw officer. I went in great detail. Told them all about the emergency measures. I told them all about how there is no pandemic. Backed it up with stats. Backed it up with figures. Backed it up with all kinds of stuff. I talked about the charter. Walking over the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And there is a clause in there, it's the commie clause, and that basically says they can bring in emergency measures as long as they can, it's demonstrably justified. What does that mean? I said this is what does it mean? Who gets to decide what's demonstrably justified? Our government just comes out and says, emergency, here you go, we'll change the definition of pandemic. No, less deaths in 2020 than 2019, 2018, 17, 16, so on. Less deaths, all-cause deaths. Forget about what you're classifying as, there's no pandemic. I said that, I went up and down in my interview. No, they didn't want that on TV, so they didn't talk about that. I went into the Bill of Rights. And I said the Bill of Rights trumps the Charter anyway, so let's forget about the Charter, there's the Bill of Rights. Did they report on that? No. Because you can't trump the Bill of Rights, you can't bring in emergency measures with the Bill of Rights, but they didn't want to report on that. I talked about the PCR test and the fraud that it is. That Anthony Fauci said that anything over 33 cycles, throw the results out the window. I also talked about the International Acts and Covenants on Civil and Political Rights. If you want to go higher than the Bill of Rights, you can go that and you can stand in the sovereign. And our country decided through the Charter that they would honor that. But it's up to us to recognize it, grab those rights, and stand in them. They don't bring them forefront, but they're there. A lot of people don't know that. I talked about that. No. Was any of that in the Global News video? No, basically an irate guy yelling at the bylaw officer. That's what they got. And you know what? Next thing you know, I'm hearing about my family. Oh, your uncle was talking to grandma, and this one was talking to that one. And that's what they see. But guess what? It ain't stopping me. I'm going to keep speaking my truth, and we're all going to keep speaking our truth, and eventually we'll wake up. Sorry, I'm mad. I'm passionate. So next week, let me rewind. So I've been trying to reach out to the mayor of Oshawa because he was actually on the Global News interview as well, and he spoke basically denouncing us and saying, you know, there's no room for what we're doing, so to speak. So I made 3 phone calls to him. I finally got through to him today, sent him off an email. I finally got him on the phone. I explained to him that we were painted in a bad light. That's not how it happened, blah, blah, blah. Tried to speak to him. I could tell right away he had his back up. And he said, well, we're actually just talking about that. We had a meeting today with the bylaw, with the police, and they're trying to figure out what kind of action they're going to take. I said, what do you mean, what kind of action? There's no action you can take. We're not doing anything illegal. We're not doing anything unlawful. We're doing what we have a right to do. I explained the Bill of Rights to him. I explained the Charter of Rights and Freedom, the International Acts and Covenants to him. He had no clue what I'm talking about. So then he said, you know, he's going to trust the medical officers of health, and they had a meeting with them. So I said, just out of curiosity, have you ever heard anyone talk about the PCR test in your meeting? About how they're over-amplifying the cycles. They're bringing them up to 45 in Ontario. Number one. Did you ever hear anyone tell you that it's not the way to test for a virus? Has anyone ever told you the virus has never been isolated? Well, I've heard a little bit about it, you know, whatever. I said, well, that's a big thing, because that is what our numbers are based on. That's what all of this is based on, but he didn't want to hear it. I told him, you need to stand up. You need to stand behind your people. You need to be like, I don't care what kind of political affiliation you are, people like Randy Hillier, and I'm not into politics, he's standing up. Roman Barst is speaking up. You need to stand up like him. You need to be like these leaders who are trying to talk and trying to speak about what's going on. They're standing up for the people. He tried to get me off the phone. We went back and forth a little bit more. Really didn't get anywhere with them. I don't expect to get anywhere else with them. But that's what we're dealing with. But what do? Do we roll over and give up? No, we keep doing what we're doing. I served a notice liability to the bylaw officers before we had our last kids play date in the park, and we had over 100 people there the last time.
It was a great
It was a great time, absolutely. The kids loved it. We had all kinds of food. We're doing it again next week. I encourage everyone and anyone that can make it out to Stonecrest Park next week, 1431 Cordick Street. Bring some kids. We're going to have pizza. We'll have food. We actually got a parent trying to organize some events and some things that they can do. Sack races, potato races, all kinds of stuff. So we're working on it. So we're going to do it next week again. And then we're probably going to move it to another park. We're not going to talk about that now because we don't want people to confuse where we're at next week. So we're going to try and move it around. But I encourage everyone, do it in your own community. It doesn't have to be big as what I'm doing, but get out, organize an event. Your neighbors will come out. They might be fearful at first. Treat them with love. Talk to them. You would not believe how many neighbors in my community that I've never spoken to come up to me, pat me on the back. I've seen you. Who are you? I love what you're doing. The mask comes down. It comes down. Once you start talking to them, because they don't know what we know. They don't know where to get it. But once they do know where to get it, they'll start looking and scratching it. They'll start scratching the surface. And that's what you're doing. You're planting seeds. Be a beacon of light. Keep speaking your truth. Eventually, this will pass. It may take some time, but we can't give up. We're here for the kids. We're here for our future. If I was a single man right now and I had no kids, you know what? I'd go run for the hills, whatever. I'll live off the land. I'll be okay. But we have kids. We have grandkids. That's what it's all about. This is communism, socialism that they're trying to roll out. They've been working on this so long. There's so much evidence out there. We all know this. But we have to stand up and do it. And one way that we really need to stand up and do it initially is by getting our businesses open. I know it's scary. I know you're worried about the bylaw showing up with the police. Adamson's barbecue, all scary situation, they lock you down. But all of you men out there especially, that know something's wrong, you guys have a duty and an obligation to stand up and do something about it. Don't be afraid. Stop being afraid. Because once you know and you do nothing about it, like, I don't even know what to say about it. You're morally bankrupt. You have to do something about it. We have to do something about it. So open your business. I know Vlad has his initiative, We Are All Essential. Go there. I think it's weareallessential.ca. Weareallessential.ca. Go there, register. I have one, openupyourbusiness.ca. I don't care where you go. I speak to Vlad. We're all in it together. We're working on the same thing. Get business owners to start registering with us so we can talk, come up with solutions. You know, in my neighborhood, I've got a bunch of pubs in my neighborhood. I've been trying to reach out to the Sri Lankan pub owners because a lot of them are owned by Sri Lankans. If we can get them all on board at the same time and we can get a big movement of people that are willing to stand up, what are they going to do? But we have to have those conversations. We have to get people talking and we have to get them somewhere they can talk. So go to weareallessential.ca. Go to openupyourbusiness.ca. Register. Send us an email. We'll do Zoom meetings. We'll talk. We'll get a coordinated effort to get out ahead of this. Sorry guys, I'm running out of breath.
That's okay.
I love you all guys. Thank you very much. Freedom!
Freedom!
Start the power on, everybody.